Welcome everybody to the long-awaited pre-week analysis session for the week of April 21st to April 26th. Now let's get straight into this. The first step when conducting pre-week analysis would be to check the news for the week, right? So starting on Monday, what do we see? We do not see much news at all. The only thing I want you guys to be aware of is that Europe and Britain, which is London session, it is a bank holiday, which means that New York session may have less volatility during its peak hours. It's just something to keep in mind. On Tuesday, we do have some news, but all of this news is low impact and should not be much to worry about. If you want, you can take a 5-minute interval when you see this medium impact news get released, but then again, I do not believe it's necessary for most. On Wednesday, we do start to get introduced to more high impact news, and that being flash manufacturing PMI and flash services PMI. So I would definitely introduce 5-minute interval there and potentially 5-minute interval for the new home sales as well. But other than that, after 9 a.m., it should be a pretty decent session. On Thursday now, we do have unemployment claims, and it is definitely we do have unemployment claims on Thursday, and it's definitely something to look out for, especially mark out the liquidity that it may create and look for a big deviation that occurs from the news. But that is prior to New York session. I believe that during New York session, we should be fine and have a decent session. I would just treat this with a bit more careful action, and please analyze and understand the news, especially if it's very different than the expected. Now on Friday we do have British core sales and University of Michigan news, so I would not be too worried. If you want, do take a 5-minute interval on such. That's essentially it. It is a pretty chill week with not much news, so it's like a normal trading week, and we should be able to crush it this week, especially by doing pre-week analysis and getting ourselves set up for success. So now let's hop onto the charts. We have ES right here, and we'll do a top-down analysis of such. So from the time being, it does look like on the daily chart we have filled this major imbalance for that news flush and all of that. On the 4-hour, we do see some consolidation waiting potentially for the next break towards the upside or downside, but all of this right here is high volatility that we may not get again because this was caused by news. So we may expect something like this or reverse towards the upside. So we're just trying to find out where the market wants to head to next. What we do have to be aware of is that we did open with the gap on Sunday, which is today, and let's find out our high volume nodes. So it does look like these highs are going to be key level alongside this high is just going to be a key level alongside these highs right here, and since we do mark them as main liquidity, we do know that they are going to be significant if we get to those levels. Overall, we're not too deviated from the point of control, which does show that we could be in a decent area right now, and we have to wait for further expansion towards the upside or the downside. Now let's go down to the 3-hour. On the 3-hour, it does look like we're in a pretty clear downtrend with simple market structure, but we are still at these key levels, and we do see some sort of rejection from this low. Liquidity at these lows, main liquidity at those lows as well. And you might as well mark out the tops as well. So now that we have the tops marked with liquidity, we want to wait and we want to see where exactly we can head towards in the upcoming time with the market. We do have a pretty decent zone here. So now that we've marked all of that out, we do have high volume node here, showing that this zone up here could be one of the main levels for price to potentially head towards. Additionally, we're at a level right now where you might just stay around this level, waiting for a tap on liquidity, right? So from how it looks right now, it does seem like price wants to head down here or down here and then come back to the POC, or to come back to take liquidity up there. But that's just how it seems from the time being. Now moving down, we did make a gap fill right there, and the gap fill does align with the point of control. Looking, that is there, and we do have this area where this 2-hour zone is. That is going to be another area of high volume or another high volume node. So this 2-hour is also a very significant area. Now, I don't see much else on the 2-hour. We do see these zones right here, which is in a high volume area within the market, but we can leave that off for now. We're just trying to set up a couple of scenarios that we expect the market to do within the long-term time frames. Looking, we do see some sort of breakage towards the downside. I do think that we can head down to these levels, or potentially even these levels from what it looks like on ES. Any minute doesn't look bad. 15-minute still doesn't look too crazy. 5-minute the same. So now that we have this marked, let's hop onto NQ because I do like setting up my scenarios on NQ and not ES. So let's get straight into this. Daily chart, we do see a clear downtrend on the recent area, and that's with the news included as well. Moving on to the 4-hour, let's just add our volume profile really quickly. So this area up here where this previous gap fill was, and this area right here at these highs, which is also could be a zone. So I'm gonna go through the time frames real quickly if I happen to identify any zone, or any highs which I can mark out. So it does look like these highs are very important, so we're just gonna mark that out right away. And we are at the same POC, similar to how we saw on ES. Now, as we're moving down, let's take a look. We do have a big gap right here. So what that means is that price may want to head there and see a reversal or flow through of that area. So if we can break, yeah, from what it looks like, if we can break these lows right here, we can easily head down to those liquidity level down there. On the 2-hour, nothing too crazy. Once again, we do have this zone, which I won't mark again. On a 1-hour chart, we did look like we've already gap filled pretty nicely. For 30-minute, Yeah, we've essentially filled the gap already, and we're starting to see early signs of downwards pressure. And from where I see, I don't seek any reason for us to return at this level unless we are using this 30-minute zone, which I saw in ES as well, but this would be our only area of barrier from the downside, and if we break the lows of this, we can easily head down to there. I would definitely consider this upper liquidity level to target. On the 15-minute and 5-minute, I'm seeing essentially the same ideas. So let's check on the VIX as well. Or actually, let's set up our scenarios that we are looking for, right? So let's hop onto the 1 hour, check out the market again, and I'll tell you guys what I see. And I'll explain it too. So what happened was we have our POC right around this gap fill area. And as we're retracing to this gap fill area, we have continued to see downwards pressure indicated by this candle right here. So I start seeing downwards pressure occur after retracement towards the POC, which can stand as a decent reversal level. So now from that, we are entering a 30-minute demand zone. So if you don't see action in this demand zone, we're likely going to head to this liquidity level. And if you don't liquidity sweep that, we can head down towards this area. So how that looks is we're either expecting a push up from here to there, or a push down to here and up potentially. Or what I'm expecting is at least a move down here and then move down there. So what we can say is that goddamn, very important. All our scenarios, and it's very important because all our scenarios are based off of this lower liquidity. Honestly, looking where price is at right now, this zone or lower liquidity area is, we're already inside of it. So there's no question that we either make a reversal here or continue towards the downside. It's as simple as that, right? I believe that we at least, if we start seeing rejection from here and proper price action signals, we can easily head at least to POC before we see our next action. But from what it looks like, I am more negatively biased. And let's see if our and it could reverse towards the upside as well. But what I'm really trying to see and why I'm trying to aim for the downside much more is that I'm trying to find a proper range for these overall longs, and this actually looks to be very, very neat. So what I see happening just using our V2 levels is that price went up, came all the way down to our 50% levels, and came back up, and now we're slowly starting to shift back down. So the question now is, are we going to come back down to these 50% levels where liquidity is at the moment and then make a return, or are we just going to make a return from there? Both of the scenarios are reasonable, but let's see if we can construct any more validity with the VIX. So let's just check on the 4 hour. 4 hour, it does look like we're here. 3 hour, 2 hour, 3, 1 hour. So we do have this level. If we break this level, we can continue towards the downside, and how it looks on the overall long-term time frame is pretty bullish still. It still looks pretty bullish, even with the considerations of all of this news action. So from what it looks like the VIX can still continue to go down. So what that means is that price can be more bullish, and that does deviate away from our NQ buy. So, so maybe we do see reversal, but I'm kind of in between, and I'm waiting for the reaction from this level as well, because this level, this 30-minute and liquidity area is very crucial, and depending on how we react there, sets a stage up from where we can target next. So essentially, all our scenarios are based upon this liquidity zone, and depending on how we react, either go upwards or downwards, we can play retracement plays on the move towards there, no matter if it's up or down. And that's the beauty of futures. The zone reaction is essential to gauge sentiment and future movement. So that's essentially all I have for the pre-market analysis. We just gotta wait for this zone to play out. And depending on how we react to this zone, will provide us either setups towards the upside if we bounce from this zone, or to the downside if we break through the liquidity. Us as traders, we have to be willing and able to react on either side and know when to stay in and stay out. So that's essentially it for this video. If you have any questions, please leave a comment down below or join the Discord. The link is in the description. There's a lot of utility inside of it, and everything is completely free. Now, if you want to learn more about these concepts, we have a full-on crash course within our YouTube channel and many more resources on top of that as well. We also host daily market analysis or trade recap sessions every single trading day, and that's essentially all I can say. We are very consistent, and we strive for success every single day. So I thank you for getting this far within the pre-week analysis, and I hope you get an idea of my analysis so you can apply and add your own twist, or use this for your analysis for the upcoming week as well. That's all I have here for today, and I wish you good luck for this upcoming trading week. Goodbye.